Music is sound, and we hear sound with our ear, just like the way we speak our languages English, Spanish, French, whatever language you speak. And when you're speaking English, you speak with your mouth and you hear with your ear. But many times we want to convey our idea to another person that we cannot see physically or is not within our geographical reach. So we want to communicate to someone far away that we want them to do something or know something or feel something. How do we do that? Human being discovered the problem that we need to learn to pass message from one place to another without having to be there physically. And with that, human beings started learning how to write. So how the hieroglyphics of the ancient Egyptians and the cuneiform and different ways of writing down words. Why do we need to write down words? So that we can communicate our idea in a medium other than hearing it directly from the person through words of mouth. In the same way in music, we have musical sounds. Okay. One, we have the problem of how do someone else know about my music without having to get in contact with me or listening to a recording of the music. How do I make the person get to know the music? So that led to a means of writing down sounds, musical sounds, which is called music notation. Music notation. In writing down musical sound, we have broadly two major ways people write down musical sounds. We have staff notation and we have tonic solfa notation. These are not the only two notations there are in music, but these are the two basic ones you can find more commonly among musicians. So, but we're going to dwell today on staff notation, which is a means of writing down music using a staff. And a staff is nothing else but just five lines with four spaces between them with which you write music. Just like you have your normal books, the books you used to write that have lines drawn across them so that you can arrange your works very well, arrange what you're writing very well. So in music, we have lines too, but this time around, we make use of five lines, or different sets of it, but it has to be just five lines. And these five lines are used to write music. And the five lines is what we refer to as a staff. The five lines can be referred to as a staff. Another component we use in writing down musical sound is a clef sign. And we have different types of clef signs. But for a start, let's look at treble clef. Treble clef looks like this. We also have another one called bass clef. So if you have an empty staff, it's just a staff. But when you introduce a treble clef on a staff, that staff becomes a treble staff. When you introduce a bass clef to a staff, the staff becomes a bass staff. Sometimes these two staffs can be combined together using lines to combine them together if we need both of them. But apart from that, we usually have single line staff for single line music, a music that has just one line, maybe one person singing or one instrument playing. If it is a piano, we usually combine treble and bass staff. The treble staff showing us what's going on at the right hand, and the bass staff showing us what's going on at the left hand. We also have other types of staff that uses C clef. We have the soprano clef, we have the alto clef, the tenor clef, and so on. So they have their own uses. The alto clef is usually used to notate viola music. So back to treble staff. This treble staff has names. Now, in naming the staff, we make use of the first seven letters of the English alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's what we use in naming them. That's how their name goes. So you can have one that is named E, another one named F, another one named B. Just like you have different names, you have human beings have their own names, like Peter, like Edward, like Matthew, and whatever name you go by. So those lines have their own names. The lines of the treble staff are named E, G, B, D, and F, counting from the lowest line. You have E, G, B, D, F. That's how we name the lines. The spaces between them also have names: F, A, C, E. To remember that, some people say, okay, we can use every good boy deserves favor to remember the names of the lines of a treble staff. E, G, B, D, F. Those are their names. While the spaces are F, A, C, E. You will need to remember this while making use of the staff. Always remember E, G, B, D, F, F, A, C, E for the spaces, counting from under. For the base staff, we have G, B, D, F, A. You can remember that with good boy deserves favor always. And then the spaces between them, we have A, C, E, G. You can say all cows eat grass, just to remember that. So those are the names for the lines and spaces of treble and bass staff. There's a reason why they are given alphabetical names. You're going to know about that very soon. Also, we have spaces. If you combine the treble and the bass staff, like I told you, if we're having the case of a piano, we have the two staff joined together. So we have some alphabets between them. When they come together, alphabets are formed, exist between them. Immediately below E on the treble staff, the lowest E, the first E from under on the treble staff, immediately below it is space D. Immediately below that line, the space below that line is space D. While the space above the last line of a bass staff, which is A, the space above A is B. So if you're counting everything straight from the bass staff, you have G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and the space above the bass staff becoming B. So we have space B. Immediately after the bass staff, line C, we have to create an artificial line, a small line, showing that the line is supposed to be there. Line C, and then space D. That C is what we call middle C. Of course, you can see it's directly between the treble and the bass staff. So if you check everything, you see that everything will rhyme alphabetically. In music, we make use of only the first seven letters of the English alphabet. We don't make use of H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and the rest. We make use of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. When we get to G, we continue with A again. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And that's how we get our alphabetical order. So the C between the treble and the bass staff is a C. So if you count everything from the bass staff up, you see that everything is going to be sequential. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. When you combine the treble and the bass staff together, that's what you're going to get. Those are all the alphabets you're going to get from the staff. When you combine the two staff together, it's called a great staff or a grand stave. It's called a great staff or a grand stave. It's not in all cases that it is combined. If you have just a one line music, you don't need to combine two of them. But if you have two music going on at the same time, you can combine the two staff to show what you're doing. Sometimes it's not only treble and bass staff that are combined. You can have two treble staffs combined or two bass staff combined. If you have two violins playing, you can have the upper one and the lower one playing the first and second violin respectively. If you have two violoncello instruments playing, you can have the bass staff, two bass staff combined, the upper one for the first cello, first violoncello, and the second one for the second cello, and that is how it goes. So this is how we make use of staff. Remember, we have only first seven letters of the English alphabet, and the music will go line space, line space, line space, line space. So if you want to get it alphabetically, you must go line space, line space. So if a particular line is A, the space above it to be B, the line next to be C, and the space next to be D, and so on and so forth. That's how we interpret the names of the lines and spaces of a staff. The same thing we did for the middle C, creating an artificial line showing that we want to continue our namings can be done above the treble staff and below the treble staff. If it is done above the treble staff, you notice that the last line is F, or for the treble staff, the last line is F, the space above it to be G, that becomes a ledger space. Ledger refers to anything that's outside the normal naming of the staff. So remember, a staff has five lines and four spaces. Anything beyond that becomes ledger. So the G, which is the space above the treble staff, becomes a ledger space. Then we can create an artificial line showing that there's a line after that G to give us A, and that A is also a ledger line. This also shows us that middle C itself is a ledger line because it's not part of the normal number of lines and spaces we have in the staff. We just have to create it to extend our musical notes. So if we have A, we can have B, space B above it. We can also do the same thing coming down on a treble staff. We have line E, we have space D lower than it, which is the first ledger space lower than the treble staff, and then artificial line, which is line C, which becomes the first ledger line below treble staff. We can even go down to have space P under it, becoming the second ledger space below the treble staff, and so on and so forth. You can create as many ledger lines as possible above or below a staff. You can practice this on your own to see how it goes.